Welcome to the India Fintech Diaries, the only podcast focused exclusively on the Indian fintech market. I'm Elroy.
And I'm Hemant. In each episode, we dive into the latest trends, ideas, innovations, business models, and personalities that are shaping India's fintech landscape.
We also invite amazing guests who are innovators and industry players that are driving the change that is helping make financial services more modern, innovative, and inclusive in India. Come join us as we explore the changing landscape of fintech in India.
Welcome to India Fintech Diaries, your go to podcast for everything India Fintech. I'm your host, Hemant.
And I'm Elroy. Today we're diving into the account aggregator framework, India's consent based data sharing platform. It's been 3 years since its public launch, and we thought this was a perfect time to assess how far we have come, and what we have learned, and what's needed to unlock its full potential. To help us unpack this, we have two incredible guests with us today. First, we're thrilled to welcome back BG Mahesh, CEO of Sahamati, the organization spearheading the AA ecosystem. And joining us for the very first time is Shallu Kaushik, Digital Head of Tata Capital, one of the most active lenders using the AA platform. Welcome back, Mahesh, and a warm welcome to you, Shalu.
Thank you, Hemant and Elroy. It's a great pleasure to be back again on your podcast.
Thank you so much, Hemant, and thank you so much, Elroy. It's my pleasure to join you guys.
For listeners unfamiliar with the account aggregator framework, we recommend checking our November 2020 episode on it. On that episode, Mahesh walked us through the framework even before its public launch, and it's definitely worth a listen before you dive into today's session. We also looked at all the progress made with the APE framework in an episode from May of last year.
Absolutely. And Mahesh, let's then get kickstarted on this episode. And let me start by congratulating you on the success of this year's SamvAAd, Sahamati's annual AA event.
Thank you. Okay, thank you very much. It was a roaring success. I think Shalu also was there. She was a panelist, and she'll be able to actually share afterwards. I hope about what she felt about Samvad, because that is the only event in India which is focused A to Z only on account aggregator framework and nothing else.
That sounds very interesting, Mahesh, and you have piqued our interest. And I also read that you have released the Sahamati annual report, which in detail covered the platform's growth and adoption. So, for our listeners who are not that lucky and were not part of those 1100 people that attended the event, it would be great if you could cover some key highlights and numbers from the report to give our listeners a sense of the current traction that we are seeing on the account aggregator platform.
Sure. Okay, to start with, if you go to our homepage, samati.org.in, you'll be able to download the annual report. It is our first annual report since we have started actually the company 5 years ago. And what we have done is to capture the work which we have done mainly in the last year or two, and we have also acknowledged all the people, especially the your volunteers who helped us to start off the company and actually get things going. So coming to the stats, that currently about 170 FIPs, which is the data providers, are live on the account aggregator ecosystem. In May of 2023, when we held somewhat about 200 entities as a whole were actually live on the ecosystem, and as of today, about 600 and odd entities are up and running on the ecosystem. So the data providers, about I said about 170 are live. All the public sector banks are live. The top private banks are live, and from SEBI, if it is your equity mutual fund, everything is in live on AA. And I think now we have a lot of work to do to actually get the cooperative banks, the long tail, actually of banks, the your foreign banks, etc., to go live. Now, when it comes to what we call the financial information user, that is FIUs, entities which are consuming the data, like the Tata Capital, we have about 500 and odd entities which are live on AA. At an average, the new entities which go live on AA every month is up between 30 to 35. New entities actually go live. Now, I mean, every month about 9 million, which is about consents are fulfilled, every month, and that has been growing between 17 to 20%, so month on month. So it is a healthy growth. Of course, it is not anywhere near UPI, but the use case itself is something else. And so the lending is the popular use case today, the most popular. After that, it is the wealth management, where the personal finance management apps are actually gaining traction amongst the users. And also, I forgot to tell you, sorry, in August 2024, we crossed the your magic number of 100 million your consents which were fulfilled. Okay, this is cumulative, and it showed a healthy growth of consents growth from over a year of almost 1059%. So it showed the account aggregator is just not the fastest growing open finance network in the world, but also the largest. I say that because over 2 billion accounts are having the facility of AA in India, and about 8% of the population have already tried and used this new framework.
And two follow-up questions, Mahesh. Number one is you covered the numbers around FIPs and FIUs. So if you have to talk about a percentage distribution of saying how many percentage are actually banks, how many are insurers, if you could share that, a high-level view on that. And second is you said the primary use cases, one is of course lending, the other is PFM. So if you could cover the top three, four use cases and the distribution of this 100 million consent percentage wise across those use cases, that would be really helpful.
Yeah, so I would say that about 74%, 75 percent of the new consents are related to lending. It could be home loan, auto loan, MSME loan, etc. And for demat account opening, bank account verification, PFM apps, it is about to 25%. Insurance is actually gaining traction, but very slowly. So only about a percent or so of the consents are related to pension account opening and insurance. And I should also speak about the impact. See, we spoke about the numbers, about the reach, all of that, but you see,
Right.
it is not enough to simply boast how many people are using or how many entities are out there, but also is it creating an impact? Because ultimately, DPIs is about creating an impact, for the society.
Correct.
So if I compare the three halves, like in H1 FY24, which is March to September in 2023, the average loan disbursement for each month was 2,000 crores. H2 FY24, which is again October to March of 24, it doubled. So every month the loans disbursed was 4,000 crores. And now H125, again it has doubled, and every month it is 8,000 crores, close to $1 billion. So you can say that every month about $1 billion of loans are being disbursed using a framework, and it is still just the beginning. So you can just imagine when lending will fully take off, which Tata Capital will be able to speak more about it. In India, like the amount of loans, I would say every loan you will see in about 2 to 3 years will use the account aggregator. framework, and all these impact reports are already published, on our website.
Excellent insights, Mahesh. Shalu, this is a good segue for us to cover the lending use cases a little more in detail. So first, I want to get some color on what is the amount of disbursements in the industry today that currently leverage the A platform. If you could throw some light on that.
Sure. But before, if I jump into that, can I just give my view on overall aspect of why A is important and why, as a
Sure.
banking industry? So, see, I feel just some stats I like to begin with. We are a population of almost nearly 1.4 billion,
Yeah.
and our median age is somewhere around 28 years right now. And out of that 1.4 billion, close to 75% of our population of citizen is over age of 15 years. They definitely want to access the formal financial services. And hence, I feel the DPI frameworks like account aggregator today are very, very imperative. And not only because of this, because the good part is our alignment with the government is completely aligned with taking the financial sector growth into a very, very strong positioning, because we are aiming at a 19 trillion economy by 2047, and I feel financial industry has a big role to play, be it banking, be it insurance, be it PFRDA, pension schemes, whatever you may end up looking at from a financial sector perspective. And hence, I feel account aggregator is the at the right position today to enable all of this industry to make it better. And the other fact is that a structured financial information availability, account aggregator is the best and the most safest form of medium which is today available to all of us to make use of it and actually not only help the customer to unlock the power of his or her financial information, but on the other side, institutions like us to make an impact of giving better, smarter way of decisioning, faster way of
Sure.
decisioning, which is probably the need of the hour. Now, moving on to the questions that your question specifically, that how we are using or how industry is using it. As I just mentioned in the last part, see, earlier era was that, or even some part of era still remains like that, that today, going to a bank is a kind of history, going and getting a printout of a statement. I'm talking
Correct.
specifically from a lending perspective. Yeah, standing in the line or getting a banker's signature on a statement is a history. We don't end up, especially people in metro, suburban, urban category, they don't go to the branch and get the statement anymore. I don't even remember when did I walk into branch for any transaction. So the whole exercise has become very frictionless and very seamless. And I think A has played a very pivotal role in that. Getting information direct through the source by customer consent on the required information is one of the great step which has happened to us. And this is exactly institutions like us are looking forward for such kind of digital enablement, we can, so that we can service the customer. So it's in our interest to make sure to use this kind of facility available to make things better.
Shalu, you touched on some of the benefits from using A both for lenders as well as customers. But I also wanted to double click on this a little, right? So, for example, how has A actually impacted turnaround times and costs for digital lenders as opposed to the previous case when you used to do digital lending without A?
Let me first talk about turnaround time.
Yeah,
See, let's talk about a secured and an unsecured product, because that's how mostly the transactions in lending happen. An unsecured product like personal loan or business loan. Earlier, typically a customer, first let me talk about within that the customer turnaround time and the institution turn or the lender
sure.
turnaround time. Earlier, the customer used to take at least 2 to 3 days to consolidate all the documents, like a KYC, which we know as one of the important document which relating to your identity, which is know your customer document,
Yeah.
and your credit information related documents like your salary slip, your ITR, your balance sheets, and so on and so forth, and bank statement. Today, with the help of a we or even other DPI framework like digital KYC, today we are able to get this information not only in a day but in couple of minutes or couple of, for that matter, seconds also. You are reaching out to customer through digital means, taking their consent. They are providing us not only the KYC but the banking or the GST or the ITR kind of thing on online platforms. So from a customer aspect, see how it has changed from days to maybe a day. I'm putting it as a day, though it is couple of hours itself. That's one part of the benefit. So obviously that part of the TAT has crunched to from say 2 to 3 days to a day or a half a day. Then let's talk about the financial institutions or the lender side of aspect.
Yeah.
The whole process, first it used to be paper based. If we call it as a file, or the documents used to get submitted by the person who's actually sales representative who's actually bringing the file. It used to get logged in, a round of check followed by underwriting round of check. Now and you have to eyeball all the information because it has come in by way of paper means. Now what has
Sure.
happened is, because most of the information is coming from the right from the source or the entity, the amount of checking has, or manual checking has, considerably come down. So the whole credit underwriting or the file processing time has come down again from say 2 to 3 days to a same day kind of thing. So much so that we also hear and see around us that the disbursement of unsecured business happens the same day. And that's how we are seeing things around us, that same day disbursements are happening, or within couple of minutes disbursements are happening. This is on the unsecured side part of it.
Sure.
Quickly talking about the secured side of the products, like a car loan or a home loan kind of product which has an underlying assets, the whole exercise of this documentation has got crunched by similar amount of time. The only other thing remains is the asset part documentation of formality closure, which is closing your car papers or the RTO processes, or your property legal and the technical aspect of it. But the underwriting and the sanction part of the process, from typically a 5 to 7 days, has come down to 1 to 2 days process. That's what the impact has happened on the turnaround time. Talking about the cost part of it, obviously, while the cost number, the industry would not have pegged to a particular dollar or a rupee today, but what
Sure.
has clearly happened today to this is that your manpower cost or the productivity, let me put it like this, the productivity of our resources has gone up minimum kind of 2x. Because if you were processing say 4 files a day, now you are able to process say 7 to 8 files a day. So that's the
Okay.
kind of efficiency one is seeing in that. And and to some extent the processing of the file costing and all of this has also reduced considerably. That's the kind of cost impact we are seeing.
Shalu, that's very interesting in terms of the benefits that you just highlighted. I also want to look at the other side of things. So, what are some of the challenges or gaps that you've observed as far as the AA platform is concerned? And are there any specific areas where improvements could further enhance the platform's effectiveness?
The fact remains, yes, this is a very great platform, very useful to us, but yes, there are challenges along with it. I think the foremost challenge is the awareness of this particular infrastructure available to us. Not many customers are aware about this, that this is the means and modes available today to provide information. And due to that, the adoption in the way it should be available today is not up to that level one could actually look at. Second
Okay.
part is, I also feel we need wider participation. of the ecosystem on this. When I say wider participation, Mahesh talked about how many banks and how many entities are enrolled. There is more room of availability of information participation in this, and I'm saying more room meaning all banks should be part of this framework. And why I'm saying that is, see from a it will actually impact the first point also, which I said. So when
Yeah.
any customer is coming to us or we are reaching out to customer, one has to, one doesn't have, should not be thinking whether it's part of that or not. If this is a framework
Correct. Correct.
available, we should be saying, okay, go ahead and do this, right? But today that particular caveat does exist. That's a reality, right? So because of this, there is an impact on the scalability also. So somewhere I believe that because the suddenly when the reach is increasing, the tech related challenges are also increasing. Whether our ecosystem or the tech part of readiness is there or not, because the number of transactions today are huge. For example, that I would be demanding a 6 months say bank statement. Today, 6 months bank statement should be, would be running in maybe thousands. So transmitting that data from FIP to FIU is the considerable effort on the ecosystem of the tech framework. So is the framework ready for that? We are seeing failures are also not, failures are very much there. There needs some amount of efficiency improvement. Need is very much the need of the hour, so that as a entity who's interacting with the customer can confidently say, okay, you can go ahead and provide this information. I have no worry that it will break, whether the participation is there or not. What if the information doesn't come in? What is the fallback option? Do I need to collect physical information? So all of these challenges today are the problem statement in my.
Moving on, and it's a good point to bring Mahesh or pull Mahesh into this. Mahesh, any new platform or new initiative when it happens and it starts scaling, basically you have solved the product market fit and it starts scaling, it comes, and each one of them comes with its own set of challenges, and that's how a particular innovation or initiative improves over a period of time. We have seen this before with UPI as well. Now, reflecting on what Shalu said, we've had discussion with other industry players as well, and most of them echo what Shalu said, that as the scale is growing, there
Mhm.
are concerns around mostly three areas, and these are just instances. One is, of course, the availability of the type of data, because in some cases, the savings account data is there, but the FD data is not coming, etc. The second is, in some cases, because people are using the same bank account for UPI transaction as well, and the number of transactions runs into millions in some cases, the data quality issues are popping up here and there sometimes, and the API availability, because as the scale increases, it is going to put a lot of more pressure on the framework, on the technology architecture. So as we progress towards increasing our scale usage, how is the ecosystem working towards addressing these concerns,
Yeah.
so that the full potential of this account aggregator platform is realized?
Sure. I mean, yeah. So it is like when the scaling starts, we also actually come across the bottlenecks and the
Correct.
challenges. And I
Correct.
should say that, all the large entities have definitely put all their resources on scaling. I mean, their infra, especially when it actually comes to the FIP side. Okay, because I think what the ecosystem actually cares is only on the FIP side, because you have several FIUs, right?
Right.
So I would say that, yeah, 1 year ago, the challenges you saw were more, and we have seen every month or every quarter it is improving. And the yeah, regulator is also very, very closely watching, including DFS, if the FIs are okay providing all the data which they should be. To example which you told is actually a reality about, you have banks which give the bank statement and very few give the FD and RD, which is true. So Samati actually works and okay, tries to actually convince them and okay, get them up and running. So it is happening, and hopefully by actually March itself, I mean, hopefully it won't take that long. Everybody who has to provide that data, it will be there, and we have had quality so challenges also, like only partial data coming in actually profile or the transactions. And happy to say that like even 15 days ago, few banks which are working on it have completed actually those fixes. But we will continue to see these challenges, and all these entities will have to start coming up with some new architecture or the technical solutions by which it won't be a challenge. Because if you fast forward 4 years or 5 years, we anticipate the account aggregator usage will increase a lot. Okay, will tremendously increase, and everybody should be prepared, to handle that load. But after saying that, we also thought, the ecosystem also thought, I mean, I would say I would first give the credit to the ecosystem, that we had to work on fair use. Just because the data is there, it is not okay for an FIU to be like trigger happy and keep on pulling the data. Okay, because it to start with, it won't be changing the data, especially the bank statement won't be dynamically changing, actually like a stock market ticker. And okay, creates a lot of load on the FIPs. So the ecosystem worked for a year, and ensured they actually came up with the what we call fair use consent templates, which are again published on our site. Like when you apply for a loan, what is the maximum duration for which you can ask for the loan statement. So if you are a wealth manager, again, what can be the frequency of your recurring actually consent. So that have been already implemented by many FIUs. So we are seeing a more sane usage, or the okay, data pulling which is happening now. And I would say that in like another 6 months, 1 year, all these challenges will be forgotten. It is a actually complex architecture, because it is across four regulators, so many licenses. Nobody has ever exchanged the data across the sectors, licenses, all of that. So it was an issue in the beginning, but I am happy to say that we have actually contributed to bring everybody on the same page and starts actually solving. I wanted to add another point. I don't know if I didn't hear about how AA has helped the lenders on efficiency, etc. The other one is it has helped a lot on the fraud reduction, because the like any data which will come from AA has zero fraud,
Right.
absolutely zero fraud. So there is no need for a lender to spend time and money on the fraud detection. And according to me, I'm sure Shalu will agree, it is a huge positive.
And it seems your FIU also echoes the thought on saying cyber fraud detection and prevention has been a huge benefit to them as well. And Mahesh, as the amount of digital data grows, and because now the way account aggregator is structured, there are points where incredibly rich data is flowing. It becomes a attractive target for cybersec from cybersec perspective, right? And I know from our previous conversations that a lot of prevention and structure and framework was put in place to avoid it. But as we grow and scale, it becomes even more attractive target from cybersecurity perspective. So, are there any efforts on to further strengthen the cybersecurity framework on AA? And if yes, what are the initiatives being taken to ensure that?
See, the yeah, design of AA is already secure. Okay, because
Right.
the end to end the data transmission is fully encrypted, and only FIU can decrypt. I would say danger or the challenge we face in AA is not any different from payments. It would be the social engineering. That would be the challenge, because somebody will ask for OTP and they give, and all of that. And now account aggregators until now had not implemented. Now one by one they are implementing SIM binding on the phone.
Right.
So on the AA app, you can use only the phone number of what is attached into the SIM, and you cannot add another phone number. And just I would say 4 weeks ago, we have formed a working group on fraud prevention. We had to call it fraud prevention. Otherwise, you will say that you are part of the fraud working group, which is not the case. Is the fraud prevention working group.
Yep.
Okay, and we have included the folks initially from the large entities who are very concerned as FIP. But see, large FIPs are worried about where the payments are going, where the data is going. So we are hearing out those concerns, and then we'll expand this working group and bring in even the FIUs who have that expertise. And I should tell you, the working groups which we have, I mean, we have so many of them which are fully cross sectoral. I mean, everybody works with each other excellent. I mean, they are very, very committed to the end customer and to ensure that this ecosystem is being used for the purpose declared. So all of that. So even from the fraud prevention, I am very sure that we will see some excellent suggestion. And once our report is public, I think the experts who are out there in India and the world will read it, and they will want to contribute to it further.
Shalu, from an industry participant's perspective, how have you seen AA impact fraud levels at the industry level?
Yeah, so yeah, I did miss upon talking about that. What Mahesh just mentioned, it is definitely big positive area for us because see, if the documents earlier were coming in the form of physical paper, there
Correct.
is an element of fraud which exists. But with this coming through the source, obviously the question goes out. So, to that extent, it is a very big benefit to all of us. And it definitely has reduced cost also, or is reducing cost also, because we used to, or we deploy teams for checking the documents and eyeballing it or investigating it or so on and so forth. So all that kind of cost goes down. That's
Correct.
and
It becomes
ultimately
practically straight through processing in that case.
yes, and ultimately the other cost of, if by chance any fraud case goes through, that is a big cost anyway for us as institutions to process. So that's a bigger side of the saving as well.
And Shalu, from a financial institution's perspective, what do you believe needs to be done by account aggregators, Sahamati, and regulators to help this framework actually realize its full potential for lending use cases?
So I feel we are moving. The ecosystem is moving in the right direction, and Sehmati is also working very actively and proactively towards it. I think few things which can be definitely worked upon is on my previous point on the awareness being low
Yeah,
or adoption being low. I feel events like SamvAAd or other campaigns can be driven. Actually, SamvAAd was definitely a very great success. Mahesh spoke about that. I think it saw participation from all industries, and in fact, we met so many people, and people are intrigued to work more towards it. How and what better benefits one can draw, what all can be done, those kind of level of interest is going up. And more so, the thing which I like the most, it's the thought of co-creating as an ecosystem was is very helpful, because we all, at least I feel, we all want to participate and contribute to this cause in whatever best methodology we can. So I think this kind of event really helps, but that's more from a target group we are talking. But from an overall mass
right.
perspective, I think some amount of campaigns from a customer perspective, I think will help, like a social media campaign, mass media campaign, where depicting it by or elucidating by way of practically how customers are benefiting, what is the benefit to them, how their data is secure, some kind of those kind of campaigns can be run. Second thing I feel is probably a community engagement, because not all will be into the mass media or social media campaigns. Customers maybe at various pockets or various segments, maybe on a tier 3 tier 4 kind of location, maybe community engagement, where tying up with the local community or a particular the trader community in that particular section can help. I also feel corporates and institutions can partner along with Samiti or with the government to actually make it more widespread and more meaningful, to help the whole framework go better. And last but not the least, that participation with the government or regulator, how we see a lot of awareness campaign today coming from the regulator as well. So something like on that lines also can be a big boost to this particular cause.
And Mahesh, what about non-lending use cases? What's needed to drive adoption in those areas and bring them to the forefront?
Yeah, to start with, like I should, I mean, I do also admit, and and actually, about this issue about the customer now awareness, Shalu is extremely, yeah, passionate about. I can say that, and she told me in person that we must do, something about it, and we will, and we have started working on it after she gave some. She told that you don't have to spend a lot of money, small things we can do to spread the awareness. Samvad is more of a B2B event. We work only with the participants, so it is not increasing the awareness among the customers. And also, as I told her, initially it was by design, because it was too early to do
Correct.
customer awareness, because we were not ready, and the people would run away from a half baked product, or it is not fully ready. But now I think the time has come, because if 8% of the population is using, and obviously something is working, and about $1 billion of loan being given every month. See, the other use cases, which is the most popular, which we thought is the PFM, your personal finance management app, as we say that it is the best tool to draw the individual's, okay, balance sheet.
Sure.
Okay, yeah, because we don't have a tool, we do only for corporates. Very important for us to understand, are we okay or not okay? And we all think we are doing okay. Actually, we are not. It's far from real. Far from the reality. It needs to be based on authentic data, and only in the PFM apps it will be done. And I should also say about 1.4 crore, okay, people in India are already using a PFM apps. Okay, but still a long way to go for such a large population. But 1.4 crore is a very good start, I would say. And we
Sure.
have already some 20-30 PFM apps, which are actually rocking. Other than that, you see, we had some surprise use cases which were not thought, which I should again tell, this is from the ecosystem which has thought about it. Yeah, kudos to that. To give you one example, one use case which was launched by one AMC, and I think it was also an account aggregator, and one RTA. It is about the insider trading or for
Okay.
compliance. See, because like in many companies, your leadership team will have to share with the compliance officer on in that week about how if you invested your money anywhere, because there should not be any conflict of interest. So
Correct.
everybody is either sending by email. I heard, the, yeah, PDF, etc. I mean, I'm not sure how many companies they go through line by line, or they extract, scan, and do all the circus. Now, actually, companies, they want to use this account aggregator framework to get the bank statement and the holdings, say for example, of so mine, and automatically their engine will inform the manager or the risk officer whether like if it is a green, red, or it should be looked into. So obviously now you see how much of the manual work, human intervention is gone. Now this will, I would say, impact wise internally, impact on compliance is great. Obviously, it won't be for the masses. That is one, and the other one, which is we had expected, and it is taking. I mean, it has gained traction. Is for the account opening. Account opening, they want to fill the form, with your
Yeah,
name, address, etc. But when you get it from AA, these are all no, authentic data from the bank because already the KYC has been done.
correct.
Correct. So due to that, it's actually smoothens the onboarding. As they say, onboarding is a very, very important part, which I'm sure Shalu would agree. And even for their digital actually journeys, if onboarding there is even little amount of friction, you just walk away. I mean, you have huge drop offs. So you need like a well-oiled engine for the onboarding, and I would say AA will play a very big role in that. Now, insurance, as I told you, is only taking off now, and in every field, whether in the banking, the capital market, and insurance, you have lot of unclaimed assets,
Yeah,
right? Because in the old insurance form, the nominee name you'll write, either some Raju or Ramu, and the address is, yeah, behind so post office, front of coconut tree, all such
correct.
funny things actually people fill. Now you can actually ask them to include the bank account number, etc., for the nominee or the beneficiaries, if it's just the right word. And the insurance actually company can also verify the bank account number, etc., of the beneficiary. So it improves the thing, but it's a long journey now to get everybody with the insurance policy to have it cleaned up and to seed a phone number. Long journey, but AA will actually play its part on whatever it is able to do. And I would say if more fi types, more data types actually come on to AA, which we have to work with the regulator, and who are extremely cooperative, because see, they mainly look at, is new data required, is it going to help the end customer? It is about the end customer. So for example, if you are able to get the provident fund
Hmm.
onto this, it is I think even she'll be able to tell us, actually, Shalu, it's another strong signal, for you to give loans, because you have that money, like actually a pot out there, so it actually sends a signal. But when it comes to financial inclusion, becomes important that at some day the lenders, including the insurance companies, are able to actually get your mobile bills, because that is also a
Right.
signal about how regular you are in paying your bill, and also about your so location, where you live, where is your office, and all of that. So when new data types come, say from the DigiLocker, EPFO, your telecom, and your so utility bills, okay,
Yeah.
those come. The FIUs in India, they'll work hard to ensure that how these new signals can be used for their existing use cases, or the same data they were in fact collecting, but in the offline mode, in an inefficient mode, in not a very trusty method. All that will disappear, and it will increase the trust and the efficiency on so both ends.
Charlie, did you have anything to add to that?
Yes, indeed. In fact, very good points made by Mahesh. I want to add one or two things to it from both from customer and our financial institutions perspective. See, on one side, from a customer perspective, India as a story, we are wanting financial literacy to go up. And there are so many steps being taken towards it. And that's been going on for
Right.
large number of years, like Jan Dhan Yojana, Pradhan Mantri Jan Dhan Yojana, and Pradhan Mantri Fasal Bima Yojana, where the expectation is coverage for all. In fact, one of the uh, motto also is insurance for all by a particular time period. I think how many of us today as customers have one single place available for accessing all of this information? I mean,
Hmm.
it's very difficult to keep track of your bank accounts, your insurance, your PF, your various other mutual fund and stock. I think that's where AI is exactly poised to play that role. I think if this kind of information is available and at one single platform, as a customer, you are more evolved. You are more in control of your financial investments or whatever you are dealing with transactions. That's the customer side of benefit. Now, talking about the FIU side of it, Mahesh spoke about what are the use cases of PFM and how it is getting used. I would say we would like to extend it further. Many places we want to know more information about customers, because many a times, there are transactions which are not giving a complete understanding of a customer, whether what is his true potential of borrowing or his investment, and so on and so forth. If such kind of information is available in a 360-degree view to you, by way of how much premium of insurance he's paying, how much investment he's
Right.
doing, is the bank balance he maintains, you get a holistic understanding of the customer, that how you want to assess him, whether he's your right client, what he can pay, and how much you can lend, and various other wealth expertise knowledge you can share, that where to invest, what type of person you are. This kind of enablement can be done by the FIUs. And to top it all, if the alternate information, what Mahesh spoke about, electricity bill, telephone bill, I think that will make further life easy for the loan lending journey per se. Because yes, as lenders, we do our due diligence about the customer, where is he staying, whether he stays there or not. All those due diligence we are expected to do, and we do that. So if such information is also being provided, that will be a great source of place to go to. That's what I feel.
Thank you so much, Mahesh and Shalu, for this really insightful conversation. It's inspiring to see the progress that the AI platform has made and the steps that have been taken by the ecosystem as well as Sahamati to unlock its full potential. We'll add links to the Sahamati annual report in the show notes as well. Thanks once again for joining us.
So thank you, Hemant and Elroy. It was again a great pleasure, to give you an update on AA. I'm sure after another year or so, you will hear, something more about what has achieved and, far a larger impact what the AA ecosystem has.
Thank you so much, Hemant and Roy, and Mahesh as well. It was my pleasure to be part of this podcast.
That's it for this week's episode of India Fintech Diaries. For show notes and exclusive content, visit our website, indiafintechdiaries.com. Until next time, stay safe and keep exploring the world of fintech.